Mics are hot.
We're hot. Okay. Call to order to the Board of Adjustments regular meeting, April 28, 2026. We'll start by standing for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes. If there's any corrections, and do I have a motion? I'll move to approve. Second. All signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes approved. We got a special use permit request today. The hearing is a quasi judicial evidentiary hearing. That means it is similar to a court hearing. State laws set specific procedures and rules concerning how this board must make its decision. These rules are different from other types of administrative and legislative land use decisions. The board's discretion is limited. The board must base its decisions upon competent, relevant, and substantial evidence in the record. It is this decision constrained by the standards in the ordinance and based on the facts presented. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and standards, not personal preference or opinion. Meeting is open to the public. Parties withstanding have rights to participate fully. Parties are limited to the applicant, local government, and individuals who can show they have standing and will suffer special damages. Special damages may include parking, storm runoff, crime problems, or property value impact. Proximity alone is not enough to prove such. Other individuals may serve as witnesses when called by the board. General witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. Individuals providing expert opinion must be qualified as experts and provide the factual evidence upon which they base their opinion. I'll stop there. Does anybody here have a conflict of interest in dealing with this issue? I mean, I know Fred. He's a neighbor, but I don't feel any problem. I think probably most people know Fred. But I just wanted to state that for me. And first, we'll start by hearing from staff. So Wendell. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so if you got
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Do you see it above me?
Can you see? Does that help?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry again. Thank you, Chair and members of the board. Special use permit SUP 26-04 is a request by Mr. Fred Fitz, the property owner and applicants for request of an accessory dwelling unit in the existing detached garage at 216 North Atlantic Avenue. Before I delve into the details of this request, a little information about the property is needed. Assuming that the slide will catch up.
Is the clicker on?
It is.
Are you sure? Oh, it's okay.
It gets me every time. Both of these images are on the subject lots. The one on the left is just an aerial, and the one on the right is the zoning. As you can tell, that the zoning is all R10, except for the OS that's directly across the street from Mr. Fisk's property. That OS is an open space zoning designation. The lot is approximately 8,276 square feet. Here we have another view of the lot taken from North Atlantic Avenue. This image depicts the single-family residence to the left and the existing accessory structure to the right. Here we find the site plan of single-family residence and accessory structure. Structure meets the minimal 5-foot rear and 5-foot side setbacks, while the ADU will have an interior footprint of 312 square feet. The detached garage below will be approximately 324 square feet. The garage doors will be facing west, and the stairwell is on the eastern side of the structure. And as we can tell, that there's an existing parking pad in the right of way, which Mr. Fisk has a right of way permit for. And then attached to that will be a proposed driveway, and that is the only driveway on the property. As mentioned earlier, the garage floor will be 324 square feet. The ADU will measure 312. This is a floor plan of what will be proposed for the second floor. Mr. Fisk will have a bathroom, kitchenette, and a little sleeping quarter area. Section 3.60 of the UDO details the specific use standards required for an applicant's SUP. As evident by table 3.1 of the UDO, the proposed accessory use requires a special use permit review and is to meet the specific use standards established in 3.6. Let me read through the next 8 articles of 3.6C. Number 1, an accessory dwelling may be within, attached, or separate from the principal residential structure. The response to that is that the proposed dwelling unit will be detached from the principal residential structure. 2, the principal use of the lot shall be a detached single-family dwelling built to the North Carolina State Building Code standards, in which case structures already existing and the principal use of the lot is for single-family dwelling units. The primary structure is a single-family residence on North Atlantic Avenue. 3, no more than one ADU shall be permitted on a single deeded lot in conjunction with the principal residential structure, and there are no other ADUs on that property. 4, the ADU shall be owned by the same person as the principal residential structure, in which case ADU will be owned by Mr. Fisk. 5, the ADU shall not be served by a driveway separate from that serving principal residential structure. That will not be the case. The driveway is accessed from North Atlantic Avenue and will serve both the single-family residence and ADU. 6, there shall be a separate parking space for the ADU, subject to the off-street parking requirements in section 314. And the response to that is that parking space will be available on the driveway. 7, the ADU shall not exceed 800 square feet. Well, at 312 square feet, it does not come close. And then finally, item 8, detached garages with a second floor accessory residential dwelling may not exceed the ground level building footprint of 530 square feet. and shall be constructed behind the front building line, except as allowed for riverfront lots, provided they are located no closer than 5 feet to any adjoining property line. This ADU is detached and less than 530 square feet, and as per the site plan, it is behind that front line of the front of the house. You see, that's not a fair picture of it.
Which one are you trying to go to? There's like a mega line for some reason.
The site plan.
The
There we go. As you can tell, the structure is to the rear of the front of the property. This concludes my presentation. I can answer any questions regarding it or the staff report. At this time, there have been no phone calls or emails reaching out to show opposition or support for the project. And again, I'll reiterate, the structure is already existing. Mr. Fisk is just proposing to turn the upstairs into an ADU. Thank you.
Are those stairs on the back of it existing?
Yes.
They're already existing. Any questions of Wyndham? Thank you, Wyndham. We need you. We'll call you back. We need Fred to come up. Fred, would you like to come up? It's your opportunity. I mean, people have any questions, Fred, Doug, Ronnie, anybody?
I mean, just on the exhibit, I mean,
Or is this Wyndham or Fred?
let me ask one.
Okay.
All right. I've been toggling back on, I actually looked at this thing during the week. All right, so we've got this thing identified as an existing parking pad. I just drove by it about 13 minutes ago. And it looks like that's all gravel. I don't necessarily see a pad. When I see parking pad, I'm thinking of a concrete slab and it's pad.
Pardon me for not being here.
I want to hammer this thing down and make sure, because you mentioned right away permit, so that means something was applied for and granted, and I didn't know if it was a gravel area that is used for parking.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know why I chose the term pad. I apologize for that. No, he was permitted for 57 gravel or gray slates.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we're going to add a driveway.
Correct.
Okay. And I saw the gate. You got a double gate. Yeah. So this drive is now going to access those gates. Does the city have any concern about potential damage to the sidewalk? Because that's a city sidewalk, correct?
Correct.
So who's responsible if that sidewalk starts getting cracked due to use as a driveway?
That's a great question, sir. One I didn't anticipate. That I would put that responsibility on the property owner, on Mr. Fisk, if he were to break the sidewalk. But to get the driveway, I think you're gonna have to break the sidewalk and create the driveway from there.
The driveway, Fred, this may be some of the questions I think maybe you could answer. Could you come up, please? And that little getting, thank you, witness.
Okay.
Oh, it's where it's the truth, whole truth, not about truth. Okay. Driveway, could you address the driveway, what your plans are for the driveway, if any?
Actually, I would just believe that sand and grass is really not going to be used. Below, a car doesn't live in the garage below. It's a workshop storage, and the whole building is stored right now, but we're finally getting around to the point where we like to finish it out.
Right.
But in terms of the driveway, it's gravel and city right away, if there is the concrete.
You plan on parking right out front, right? You're not gonna go across, do you anticipate going across the sidewalk through the gate with the car?
No, but I do
Right.
occasionally, but I mean, any non-conforming lot or any lot in Stockport that has a sidewalk, you have to pull across to the end of your driveway. So, yeah, sure, it may have.
No, but this is asking for, you know, if you weren't asking for this, you wouldn't be crossing that sidewalk very often. To your point, you know, if you need to bring something in, if you need to dump some dirt, or you need to take something out. Right, but otherwise, there's now potential, to me, what I'm looking at, there's potential for more frequent use because it is an ADU. That's the nature of it. So I'm just trying to get clear on that. And it looks like there's more potential for more frequent vehicle traveling over that sidewalk, increasing the risk of damage.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, there's not an issue with driving over it, because I think Fred made the point that it's all over. The question is, and Wendell, I think, is if it does get damaged, is it through the use of it? Is it the homeowner's responsibility?
So I would say it would be incumbent on Mr. Fisk to replace any damage to the sidewalk that caused of his driving over it.
He's not gonna run and ain't no telling green.
Oh, like I said, just,
Yeah.
well, again, you think about it citywide, yeah.
Right, and the heavy work's been done, there's no concrete before it. Unless I'm required to put down 57 stone on the driveway, it's never gonna be used. It's, for me, it's fine, just like it is. So,
Pretty much it's gonna be as is right now,
right,
and sparingly using it to go in.
And that's okay. The difference is what we're talking about and what's shown on the plan are two different things. What we're talking about, you even mentioned just leaving it
right.
as is, the grass and I think you've got some, I got a bunch of them on my yard right now.
Bushes,
No,
flowers.
mulch. You got like, pine bark mulch and a whole bunch of, it's just loose stuff.
A little bit of everything.
Exactly. But the sketch says, I have to go on what's being presented to the committee and it says drive.
Did you get a good enough answer from Wendell?
Yeah, it's just that I just want you to understand where I'm coming from. I sees that it looks like you're putting in a new driveway. That's what the plan says. Plan doesn't say leave as existing, plan says drive.
Well, the driveway is on the plan because part of the requirements is there's supposed to be off-street parking for that ADU that would be needed, so that's why it's included.
Okay.
I had a question probably for Wendell. Is there any requirement that the driveway be gravel paved in this context?
Negative.
So leave it as is.
So it can stay as is without causing any problems for the required parking?
Right. Director Meehan, you need a curb cut for a driveway?
Is there a curb cut now? There's not a curb.
Yeah,
No.
so, they can say as is. Sorry,
Okay.
I'll stop there.
Okay,
You good enough?
Yeah.
That's good. No, that's what we're here for.
And really, the main reason why there's not gonna be concrete or even 57 stone is because we have a massive, large, white, live oak right there, and the root mat extends past there,
Yeah.
so we're not gonna disturb it. We don't need to.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Thank you, Brett.
That's it.
That's it. Is there anybody here from the public to speak for or against this project? I see we have a couple people here. Anybody from, okay. Any more questions from here? All right, I'll close the public hearing. And discussion? No discussion, we'll entertain motions for either disapprove or approve. Do I have a motion for number one?
They go whack at it. The use will not materially endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare affairs located where proposed and developed according to the plans submitted and approved, finding of fact. Being that staff review produced no potential issues regarding public health, safety, or general welfare.
You got a second? Who's all in approval, signify by saying aye. Disapproval, same sign. Motion carries. Motion 2,
Motion, the use meets all the requirements, conditions, specifications. Finding of fact, in existing building.
And meets all size setback requirements.
do I got a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Motion 3,
Make a motion. Use will not adversely affect the use or any physical attribute of adjoining or abutting property when that use is a public necessity. Finding of fact, an existing building is only a change on the inside, so it's not affecting the surrounding properties.
Second.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion 4,
The location and character of use according to the plan submitted, approved, the proposed accessory dwelling unit will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the City of Southport Comprehensive Plan. Finding of fact being that, the use is allowed, it's an allowed use within the R10 zone. And meets all other requirements of the UDO.
second. Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we still have that last 5.
Motion to recommend approval, special use application with conditions including following. We're gonna put the non-rental
Right.
agreement, other than that, everything first plan is spec.
Did you, hold on 1 sec. Fred, there will be a covenant added, a condition that it not be allowed to be rented
Separate from the house.
separate from the house.
So does that need to be recorded?
Yes.
We will, yes,
Okay.
it'll go with this approval,
Okay.
correct. It'll be an official.
Okay. So I'm just curious, is that something that I will need to do?
No,
Okay.
It's something you cannot do.
I can clarify.
yeah, go ahead.
No, there's something you have to do, sir. What we'll do is, the findings of fact, once they're signed by the city clerk and the chairman, will be recorded at the register of deeds. You're done with this. All you have to do is just build it out.
But what we're doing
You'll
is
get it.
we will put a condition on this that it not be rented separate from the house.
Yeah.
Are you clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear. So I have a question for Wendell. So from the real estate perspective, as a realtor, which I am a realtor, if I wanted to find out if there was a stipulation recorded, how would I do that? On property?
You fill out a public records request for that particular property, in which case the findings of facts for any special use permits, such as an ADU, would be divulged. And part of the findings of facts would stipulate any conditions that the board had incorporated on that case.
I have a question.
So-
I thought it was recorded at the county.
Yes, sir, it is.
So, I mean, you could just go search.
There
for
is
the county.
access to the records out there as you do all the property. And it should show up.
I just never done that, so.
Any other questions? We're good? Okay, did we add that? And we have our verbiage, okay. Who made the motion?
I did.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, that's it, for this one. I guess you'll be notified within a few weeks. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chris?
All right, what else do we have, folks? A question I'd like to pose to staff at the appropriate time. I want to have a question for staff. You recognize?
Okay, want to go ahead, questions for staff, go ahead. Is there one thing?
It doesn't matter. I want to, earlier this year, I think it was, we began a hearing on an application for property on North Atlantic. I think it was on the corner of North Atlantic and East 8. And as I recall, and although I have not reviewed the file on this, as I recall that hearing, that application was tabled after the board requested additional information on from a hydrology expert or some similar qualified person to talk about the flooding and drainage in that area. Subsequently, we did not resume the hearing, but it's been called to my attention that the construction of a building that looks to the passerby identical to the ADU that was in the application is underway. Can you elaborate on any of that?
I can, absolutely. Thank you for asking, sir. So, just a quick background. The case was regarding Mr. Bill Fitzgerald of 129 North Atlantic, I believe. Maybe it's 127 North Atlantic. It's directly behind the tiki bar. He had brought forward an application, special use permit for an ADU to go into the back of his house. There was some considerable opposition to it, citing concerns for stormwater inundation. And the board had, I heard guys' guidance, decided to table it until more information could be discovered regarding the stormwater outlet. However, Mr. Fitzgerald elected not to carry forward with the application, and he just went ahead and built the structure. He's allowed, it's permitted by right.
By right.
The structure is a permitted by right structure. And he's just not turning the upstairs into an ADU. So he's doing what he is allowed to do. It's just not happening as an
What
ADU.
about the stormwater issue?
Let me speak real quick. I'm talking to Sheila and she got an engineer to do that and she got the results and she wasn't given the chance to present it to the board. So that might be something we need to take into account. So
So
she paid a good one and get this done.
Based on what I'm hearing, it's out of our jurisdiction.
But
It's
this should.
a moot point.
What should we do?
If they can do it by right.
Right.
If they can do it by right.
That's right.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
They can do it right, but what do we do?
But what does that have to do with runoff from the roof and flood? The buildings was caused, was not ADU, right?
I know that.
so that would be part of the,
But she should have a chance to present the case. That's what I feel on this being.
Well, the building, your building department, did they address that stormwater issue with the?
it did not meet the criteria to have stormwater mitigation. And that's why I tried explaining at the hearing, is that while it's okay to be concerned with that, at the end of the day, and he could do what he wanted to do by rights and just not have an ADU. And Ms. Sheila wouldn't have anything to say about it. I know that's not fair to her, but that's just the case. And it's his property and he could by rights build an accessory structure. It's just the way it is. And then, so
Without the ADU,
without the
without the
ADU,
ADU component, we don't see.
exactly, without the ADU, you guys, it's outside of your guys' hands.
Right,
And the stormwater question is.
Is the city doing anything for the, the lifelong resident?
Yeah, because, they tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking the city, doing anything for them?
Yeah, I mean, they should have plans.
No, I mean, there's a byway project that went through plan review, in which case the stormwater engineer evaluated the building plans and it didn't meet the criteria to do any stormwater mitigation as per our UDO. And therefore, Mr. Fitzgerald got the green light to build the structure.
So in order for the city to have a greater say in stormwater mitigation, the UDO would have to be amended.
It will, we're not quite certain.
We need to be able to apply the, stormwater to infill development, because basically right now, infill's just, there is no stormwater.
I hear you. So I don't know if I'm saying it like that. Director Meehan and Tom Zillman, our stormwater engineer, are currently working on that UDO amendment now. We're expecting before the end of the year. It is a process, particularly with, new legislation coming down from the states. We've got to be careful we don't down zone or create situations where people are, unable to develop appropriately. So to that point, yes, it is a UDO amendment, but that is underway at this moment.
Kind of a hole in your hand first.
How long has that been underway?
Pardon?
How long has that
About 4 months now. Yes, sir.
That's all.
Right, 4 months
For the land disturbance.
for the land disturbance portion of the UDO text amendment. It's been about 4 months. So let me recap real quick. Mr. Fitzgerald pulled out his ADU application and he went ahead and did a by right project. And basically, it was permitted. There's nothing we can do. We can't just say we don't like it or whatever. It is kind of a,
But that means he has to get a special use permit to change it into it.
yes, if you do decide to get an SUP,
He doesn't buy the books. But he didn't buy the book. You see a plumbing stack, you see a plumbing stack out of the roof.
Already built.
yeah, exactly. So it's not something that our building inspectors are, we're all right, to see what's going on.
Answering his question, where do we stand if he builds it and then starts putting ADU in?
And then, he's got a massive zoning violation on his hands for building without special use permit. And he'll be cited appropriately and fined until he comes into compliance.
No, let me restate that.
Yes, sir.
He builds it and then he decides to put the ADU in, and he files for the variance to do that.
No, you can't. I hear your question. Yeah, no, that wouldn't fly.
Tell me why.
Because you can't, ask for a variance for something after the fact of, especially since there's a history of them coming before the board.
After the fact, I'm sorry, Wendell, I'm not stating it very well on that, evidently.
We just approved Fred. That was a permit, that wasn't a variance. He asked here for a special use permit.
Yeah.
So he would have to come and ask us for a special use permit. And
Folks,
obviously, we go right
folks,
back to
we don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
Right now, we have no dog in
Let
this
me
fight.
recap just so that we're all on the same page. So if Mr. Fitzgerald decided to build an ADU, there's two options. One, he could do it completely illegally, in which case that would be a zoning violation. We would cite him. He would have to pull out all the ADU accessories to come into compliance. And then he'd have to go before the board. Or two, he would have to go before the board regardless, for a special use permit. Knowing that he kind of kneecapped you guys, I don't foresee him being, I shouldn't speculate, but I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. I think what's gonna happen is he's just gonna use it as a storage space.
My question is coming back into the impervious. So does the impervious come back into it when it's modification to?
I'm gonna stop the conversation. This is nothing to do with what we have to
You
do.
would go for the 4 questions of it.
And I exercising my right as chairman to say that this is not part of our responsibilities. They're building a shed by right. We don't have, there's nothing to discuss for this board. There is no action for this board. So it's
Well, just for the record, I'd like to say that she did get that done. If it wasn't her favor, the building still.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
I welcome if you have individual questions about
Yeah, you can-
any particular case.
Harley, you're more than welcome to talk to them after the meeting.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hold up these folks here.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Good call, Harley. You get it.
Said thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing that I have is I'm gonna be rotating off in June. I think Harley's gonna be rotating off in June. And I would ask y'all to maybe start looking, because I know how hard it is, you know, sometimes to find replacements, and we don't wanna, you know, miss a beat if we get enough.
You're gonna have to clone yourself. Leave.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's a good hand. Two ago, I'm here. Harley's going off, I'm going off, and Scott is just, and I know we had some good candidates that we had last time we interviewed, and hopefully we can attract those folks back. If people sitting in here, you know, there'll be openings here, so, anybody have any other comments?
Next month's meeting, I'm more than likely to be late getting here. I will be here. It could be 5 o'clock. I'll be here by then. I just landed at 4 o'clock in Wilmington. I'll grab her and we'll come to that. Here's where we're going. Second.
All in favor, say aye.